What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Survivor Now podcast. My name is Randy. Tonight, I'm joined by the lovely Will and the lovely Kara, and we are here to discuss the finale of Survivor Game Changers. Yes, it's been a long off season for us, a busy off season, I should say. We've missed a couple weeks here and there. So sorry. Most of that's been my fault. You can put the blame on me. But we are here to finally talk about the finale. And if you guys watched along with us and you have opinions of the finale, let us know in the live chat. We like to call it our ancient voices. Also, don't forget to hit that like button during this video and subscribe to the channel if you are brand new. But we get to see Sarah Lacina become the 34th winner. There was Sandra. So technically the 33rd winner of Survivor. Will, I will go to you first. Someone who has seen this season, watching it back, experiencing Sarah's win, has your opinion changed at all? And we're going to get to Sarah more in detail a little bit later on in the show. But has your opinion on the season changed at all? Has your opinion on the winner changed? How do you feel?
Yeah, no, so my opinion of Sarah's game, it changed for the better because I just forget how cutthroat and manipulative she was throughout the season. Like, for a while, I just kind of consider her as like a good winner, like not top 10. Is she top 10 now? Maybe. I also think she got very lucky with the cast she had because she was with a very game-oriented cast who were able to recognize the game she played in such a emotional season. Because All-Stars are very emotional 100% of the time. And so, yeah, plus, like, the editing was also weird, but it was a very weird win, but she's a very deserving winner regardless.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
We have differing opinions, but I'll get to that. So, Kara, your first time watching the season, answer for us again. Did you know that Sarah won this season? And now that you've seen it, how do you feel about how this season played out?
So I did kind of know that going into it, I wasn't completely sure, but then as we went on, I was like, okay, I know Sarah wins. So I knew, but like, I didn't know how she won. I didn't know her game. I didn't know anything about that. So watching it, I feel like she was a great winner. I think for this season, like perfect winner for this season. I enjoyed seeing her play her game.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting. The whole dynamic with Sarah this season was the first time she played, she was the hero, right? She came in as this cop. She was going to play friendly with everybody. And it was interesting that during the reunion show, we saw them talk to Tony Tony and Sarah about, hey, did you actually use Tony as a mentor to change your game? And she's like, yes, because you saw how it played out for Tony when he came in, played like the villain and everything. That's how I wanted to play. And it worked out again. So if you're trying to win Survivor, just follow the Tony and Sarah playbook. We're going to get to everything that happened, but we're going to do this in a non-conventional way. Usually we take you moment by moment throughout the episode. But today we just want to focus on kind of the bread and butter, that final tribal council. And later on in the episode, we'll get to the live reunion show. Some stuff happened on there. We'll get to Advantage Get-In at some point. That is one of the best moments in Survivor history, not for Suri, but just in general, just one of the best moments, most entertaining moments to watch. But let's start. I got to go back to Will because we're going to start with Troyzan, and we'll work our way back up to Sarah. And Troyzan, obviously, we've said it many times, a friend of the pod.
Yep.
He makes it to the finale here, but we've talked about this all season, Will, and that's you love Troyzan, but I said that he was kind of just there. Yeah, you put the word in my mouth. It's so mean to say.
I get it.
He was playing from the bottom all season, which there is a respect level there, but
Yeah.
you're such the big Troyzan fan here.
I can defend it.
Go ahead. I'll give you the platform. Defend it.
So I think when we analyze Troyzan's game, what we need is context, right? Not to One World, but to Survivor, the original All Stars. And I feel like, and it's something I've noticed, and I say it again, I said it here, this podcast, but all returnee seasons, they always are more emotional because people are coming back. They want to, they have a legacy. They're trying to defend themselves. And I feel like we kind of saw it with the heroes versus villains, where Sandra won because they didn't want to reward Russell Hanson's gameplay. I'm not calling the jury bitter, but that went into effect. Mm-hmm. I think of the original All-Stars as well. And I think Troyzan's style of gameplay, he was the hero of the season. I mean, it's not something that we think of because he was so aligned with Brad Culpepper, and Culpepper was definitely the villain. But we think of Sarah Lucina, who got flamed hardcore at the Tribal Council because she was so manipulative and used friendships and then immediately burnt those friendships. Mm-hmm. Brad Culpepper, who didn't really have a lot of friendships outside of his main alliance. And then there's Troyzan, who was a very passive player, but because he was so passive, he was able to build up bonds with the jury. I think his flaw was that he didn't realize that the jurors were going to be so game focused and game oriented and respect Sarah's win, because start of the final Tribal Council, Zeke opened up and said, "Hey, Sarah, you wore my jacket every day or every Tribal Council. That is so cool and so amazing." When I feel like on another season, on an older season, Troyzan would clear, and so I understand why people might not say Troyzan was the best player of Survivor Game Changers. I'm not saying that either, but what I will defend is his strategy. As intentional or not as it was, I do think there is a legitimacy there that just missed the mark entirely with the cast. I could see it working somewhere else. And that's
this is the interesting thing with this whole situation in Troyzan. I feel bad for him because he ends up being the 0 vote finalist here. And the tough thing, I respect his game because he played from the bottom the entire game. Like you have to play with the cards that you're dealt. And the whole point is to make it to the end of the game, make it to that final Tribal Council. And it's a miracle that he kind of did that. Don't forget, he did find an idol. He got that during a challenge. And yes, he wasn't the person steering the ship, but he did a pretty incredible job at just staying on the ship when nobody was willing to work with him for the most part the entire game. And I think there's something to be said in that. But Kara, it was difficult to watch that final Tribal Council when no one would talk to him. No, and I mean, even at one point, someone's like, Troyzan, I'll ask you a question here. And his final kind of speech was like, all right, I know where I stand with you guys. Just know that this is a dream of mine. I was happy to be here. He went off with a good attitude, but it was heartbreaking because you could see it in his eyes, as they were getting ready to vote, how emotional it was for him to know that he didn't really have a chance to win. What was your take on Troyzan in this finale episode?
No, I felt bad for him too. I really liked Troyzan the whole time. He was just so wholesome that I felt bad. I don't know. He could have won too. He would have been a fine winner.
we would have been happy with Troyzan winning. Yeah, I mean, he had good moments. At the end of the day, he did have good moments. I wish they gave more credit to him for the fact that he had to fight from the bottom, and I think that does say something.
He had good relationships. He was never a target. He had an idol. He never really needed to play it until everyone else started playing theirs, and then I don't know. He was under the radar.
Super under the radar. Do we think there was a world? I know Jeff loves playing this game. Culpepper does not like playing this game, but is there a world where he could have won? Was there two people Troyzan probably could have gone to the end with outside of Michaela that I had to get my Michaela shot in?
Michaela and Debbie, maybe.
I don't know if Michaela could have
won.
Yeah. No, not on this cast. I think again, if he played, 20 seasons prior, 30 seasons prior, he would have cleared.
Also, I think it's hilarious that the episode that I missed last week, which you guys did an amazing job Thank you, thank you, thank you. I think it's funny that the episode I missed was the episode that Michaela went home. So be
Yeah.
happy that you guys did not have to listen to me.
No,
Just
we think you
going.
planned it.
Yeah. Since day one.
yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna get him go with this.
Yeah, and I dipped her elimination episode. I'm like, I'm good.
Yep.
I'm out. I don't need to talk
Bye.
about it. But no, I see. I feel bad because I know we're going to spend so much time talking about Cold Pepper and Sarah, and we've given Troyzan like 4 minutes here of like that. That's how it
Hey.
was.
He did
This
great. He did great. He got to the end. You
He's
know,
a friend of
he
Stock
gets
Watch.
the end.
Go watch our recap with Troyzan.
And Troyzan also did not understand during that live reunion show what was happening because I found it hilarious that Jeff had to tell him like 9 times. He's like, no, you're still in the final 3. We're just saying that it's Ty in the final 3 instead of Sarah. And then he's like, okay, raise your hands if you would vote for Brad. And Troyzan puts his hand up and Jeff's like, no, Troyzan, you're in the final 3.
He wasn't technically wrong though, because
was.
the
I mean,
votes
if it was-
tied.
Yeah, if it was a tie, Troyzan would have broken
He
the
was
tie,
one step ahead.
bro.
I love it. I love it. Troyzan is just this mastermind that we don't know. We didn't know about. And I
It's
wish
his
we saw
island.
more of that.
I mean, winning is great, but what the next best thing is being that third place 0 vote finalist.
They get the best edits. They're the best. They're always the swaggiest people.
honestly,
Yeah.
you might be saying that as a joke, but more
I'm
people
saying that.
remember the 0
No,
vote
like-
finalists over second place.
Yeah.
Like
It's
I could
always someone great.
like if we went through like the new era alone, the 6 seasons, we could probably name all the 0 vote finalists, but there might be 1 or 2 second place finishers that we miss.
I
Yeah,
agree.
no, like I think the last 3 0 vote finalists of the last 3 seasons have been better than like top 10 characters.
And honestly, also, I mean, with that argument, side note, I think first boots are also more iconic than second place finishers. I'm just saying.
Second
you remember?
Oh,
I would.
You don't think
that's
so?
a hot take.
I mean,
You don't
actually,
think
I
so?
I could see it, like kinda.
Jelinski, Hannah Rose, Mariah, Abraham. I
Shout out
mean-
to Hannah Rose, my hero, my goat.
I'm just saying. I mean, it could definitely.
Okay,
be
who's the first boot of Survivor 44?
Give me a second.
Who's the winner of Survivor 44?
The winner was Jam Jam.
And then
Second
who got second?
place was Heidi.
Okay, point taken. Boom.
Who was the first out
Was
of
it
Survivor
Nat?
44?
No.
No, guys, it's Tika.
I don't know.
I'm thinking
Tika.
Tika, and I'm really trying to think. Oh, wait. No.
I can't remember a single person.
Who was it?
It's Bruce.
Bruce!
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly. I don't want to hear it.
Lord.
Not only
Okay, well that's
was he first
different. That's
boot,
different.
not only that, but he also came back for another season.
But he was
Um,
medivac. That's different.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm not counting that. I remember
different.
Bruce for season 45 where he killed it.
Yeah.
Our new podcaster friend Bruce. Yeah. Kara, what we failed miserably.
Yeah, that's
Ooh, hopefully he doesn't watch the rewatch episodes. All right, let's get to. He probably is watching this. I'll get a text tonight about it. Let's get to Cold Pepper now. Will, I said that we disagreed a little bit earlier when you were talking about Sarah Lucina deserved to win. I stand firmly that I think after rewatching this, Cold Pepper should have won this season.
no, really. That's
Really?
your takeaway?
Neither one of you agree.
No.
That's your takeaway.
Okay,
Just the
hold
way
on.
he talked to Ty alone, absolutely not.
Let me put on my
Bob
Aussie hat. Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on.
Well,
No.
and Ozzy also won.
Hold on. I think. Hold on. Hold it just a minute. I think one of my biggest problems with Survivor nowadays, and I think it's how do I put this? I think it's the culture that we kind of live in. I don't think people put enough emphasis on challenge strength. I don't think they really ever have, and specifically this season, I don't think they did, because I think people go into the game and all they care about is the social strategy. That's mine first. First thing, how was your social game? How was your social game? How was your social game? Where I've said we need villains back on the show, and I want more people who go on and don't give a crap about being friends with people and just make it to the end and like cutthroat, cut people. Don't get me wrong, you got to have a social game. I totally do get that. But sometimes I feel like people go on the show and they care more about friends than people who actually played the best game. And to me, Sarah made more friends, essentially, is what happened, because there was too many people who are like, Brad, you talk to us in this way. And I get how he spoke to Ty was an awful look. But it was a strategy. He even explained it during the final tribal council. I was really trying to get Ty to play his idol. And you saw, when I say how culture comes into this, you saw Haley was like, so you're talking down to Ty. So in her mind, it was immediately, you're telling me you use bully tactics to advance your game, which I'm not saying is right, but I feel like nothing else mattered to her, because he did explain, look, I was trying everything desperately to get Ty to play his two idols. I was trying to make him feel uncomfortable to play that idol. It's how you look at it, but I feel like in terms of who played the best game, which is who I want to win, who I think should win, I don't think it should matter who's the friendliest, who's, the nicest out there. I think it should come down to who played the most cutthroat game, made the best moves. That's how I view it, and that's why I think Culpepper played the best game, and he won 5 individual immunity challenges when he was going to be voted out. Sarah has nothing that she can say to that. So that's why I am Brad's biggest cheerleader here. Kara, I've seen some major reactions. You probably have a lot to say. Go ahead. Take the floor.
Yeah. I feel like it's not so much making friends. I feel like it's more of how you make other people feel. Like, you don't have to be someone's friend to make them feel, like, good. Like, Brad could have went about it with Ty in such a completely different way. Like, Brad didn't read that situation with him correctly, I don't think. I think the way he spoke to Ty was not the right move for him. I think he could have, I don't know, I just think he could have done it differently. And, like, the way that you speak to people is what matters more than, like, gaming them to do something that you want, where you can talk to them in a certain way to still get them to maybe do what you want, but, like, and then in the end, like, they're not going to be as mad at you if like, I feel like that was kind of with Sarah too. Like, she made people feel good with her. Like
Sierra.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
She did pretty much the same thing with Sierra in making Sierra give her an advantage without talking down to her, kind of like
exactly
what Culpepper did. Yeah, she got it there. And I mean, jury management is a super big part, and that's what it came down to. Culpepper didn't manage the jury as well as Sarah did at the end of the day.
Yeah, and he got and you could even see, like, he let his emotions of how Ty get in his head, and that is ultimately why he lost, by taking Sarah and not Ty, because he wasn't thinking clearly. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like his social game wasn't the best, and I think that is an important aspect of the game. Like, he was like, he's pretty good in the beginning, then he kind of just, like, I don't know what happened to him in the middle. And then in the end, he's just coming out really hot with whatever he was doing.
He needed a Snickers. He said it. He said, I needed a Snickers out on the island. I mean, Will, Kara makes a wonderful point. Social is part of the game, whether you like it or not. If you don't have a good social game and you're not great at jury management, you're not going to win the game at the end of the day. Should social game outweigh the physical part of the game, though? Because I just feel like at times people just disregard that. Like he said, I won 5 individual immunity challenges. And to me, it seemed like everyone except for Ozzy, who himself is a challenge beast, was like, okay, what, buddy? You want a cookie? Congratulations. Even Sarah was like, he's an athlete. Of course he's going to come out here and win. Like, I can't do that. I'm sorry. But I think that's where my frustration came, is at points this season, he did have a good social game, which I think should carry over. Sometimes the argument with Survivor is if you don't do it post-merge, if you do it pre-merge, it doesn't really matter as much, because post-merge is when the game really takes effect, because that's when the jury is really seeing everything play out. But he had great relationships with Sierra earlier on in the season. He had a good relationship with Ty. They worked together. Him and Debbie were working together. That, I think that might be the difference here. The jury is looking at what they saw post-merge. Obviously, out there, they probably saw Brad more than I did be rough with some people. So I'm just speaking from what I saw on the television screen, which is what I have to go by. And I'm looking at the season as a whole instead of just looking at the last couple of weeks, which kind of, to your point, Karen, you are 1,000% right, kind of ruined Brad's game, is his performance towards the end socially. Will, what do you think of Culpepper overall?
So I think there's a few different points, and to break them down very quickly, I think my approach to Survivor has always been bare bones. Like, at its core, just make it to the end, and you have to vote people out, and the people you vote out will decide the winner. And how do you manage that, right? I think at its core, that is what makes Survivor what it is. And I don't think Brad Culpepper did a very good job at that. I think in my opinion too, is like, if you rely off of a piece of trivia or something flashy for Final Tribal Council, and it's not just winning challenges, which is very impressive, it kind of weakens your overall game. It's the same thing when like people want to make a big move for the sake of a resume and try to use that as a flash of like, hey, I made this move. I don't think that's a very strong argument to make. And it's the same if you make it through the entire season without your name getting written down. You know, that's not a very impressive statistic on its own. And I think that's what Brad's problem was, is because he was trying, that's his big point he can take home. But again, this jury was very game oriented, with the only real challenge guy being Ozzy. So Brad, if the jury,
you got to play to your jury.
Got to play to the jury. It's like if JT was still there on the jury, I think if Malcolm, as well. I think if JT at least was in the jury, I think Brad would have gotten another vote. So I love Brad too. I thought he played a really cool game, and I love a villain. And it's weird to see Brad Culpepper as a villain, especially compared to Blood versus Water. But this was a rough showing, especially in the last few weeks, which are way more important than the first few weeks.
And I mean, obviously he got Ozzy's vote. Makes sense, because Ozzy, a lot like Brad, had to rely on challenge strength and being productive at camp. And he got Debbie's vote, which was kind of funny to see, especially given what happened earlier on in the season and I'm pissed and all that. And who was the third vote? I did miss that. Who was the third? Sierra. Which makes sense. Again, so at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter Ty's vote, but you could say that's a vote he lost. I think if he just kept his alliance with Ty, and that's another thing we can I want to get a few comments in here. Chris, what's up? What's up, Chris? How are you doing? And then also Toya is here. What up, Toya? At the end of the day, the situation with Ty was an interesting one.
Yeah.
And one, I'll go ahead and put it out there. This episode was kind of the downfall of Ty. Everybody turned against Ty, and something we got to ask Troy's hand sometimes. Something must have happened on the island that we didn't really see, because I understand that Ty was kind of moving around, jumping alliances a little bit, but they flipped like that on Ty. They were almost like, this man cannot be trusted to save your life. And I'm like, to me, Ty's one of the most trustworthy people there is. If you get him as an alliance member, he's going to roll with you. Kara, what was your takeaway with Ty? And then you can also go on to how he kind of got talked down. I mean, it was a very bad look. It was a bullying look where he even said at Final Tribal Council, are you aware how you speak to people? Because it was almost like, you have to do this. If you don't do this, you're out, buddy. Your life is in my hands. I can do whatever you want with you. And it was tough to watch.
Yeah, I felt bad for Ty. I mean, granted, he, shouldn't have really mentioned anything about the idols, because that would have just been easy for him to get further with the two of them than having to talk about it. But he went to Brad as an ally. He was trying to work with him, do something with him, and then for Brad to just be like you said, you do this or you're gone, your life is in my hands. Like, no one wants to be talked to like that. Like, why are you deciding my fate when I'm reaching out to you to like help you and work with you? So I didn't like how he spoke to him. And yeah,
Yeah.
It was literally
so bad.
like Ty said, he's like, I feel like I'm being treated like a dog. It's like,
Yeah.
do this, don't sit there, don't do this. Like, he can't go off and talk to anybody. But I almost feel like Brad was obviously the worst, but it wasn't really only Brad. Like, it was like everyone attacked Ty. Sarah herself was like, you were seriously going to vote me out? Like, yes, Sarah, that's the whole point of the game. Take it as a compliment. They saw you as a threat.
Yeah.
Like, I get the frustration, but everyone just turned against Ty, and it's like, Will, no one wanted to work with the man at all.
Yeah. I will say, in light of all of this, we can give more props to Suri Fields, who I think did a wonderful job off the heels of the Michaela vote. You get blindsided, your ally goes out, and the only other ally you have is pissed with you. She just railroaded Ty, and then immediately after went to Ty to work with him, which I thought was really baller.
It's what makes Suri the GOAT. One of the GOATs.
And right, she wouldn't have even gone at that tribal had everyone not had all those advantages.
Yeah, didn't even have a vote against her.
So
yeah, if Sarah didn't have that legacy, because Ty and Suri voted together with Aubrey.
Well, so, I think we should talk on Suri a little bit more. We touched on Brad Culpepper. Obviously, second place is all he's going to get. Actually, before we go on to this next topic, and
that's all he's going to get.
That's all he's going to get is second place. Dude, would you guys like
that he could have won?
I still think Brad got robbed and should have been the winner. That's where my vote would have gone. But let me ask you guys this before we go to our ad break. Would you like to see Brad play a third time? Or have you seen enough, Brad?
Yes. Because Brad pisses everyone off. And it's so great. 100%.
That's the most savage I've ever seen Kara. Kara, you can just say no.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I feel like he wouldn't get to the end again if he played again. So I feel like he should just leave it at this.
Your aunt was like, Randy, is this seriously a question? Absolutely not.
I know.
That is Kara's way of
sorry,
saying
Brad.
Get him on the podcast.
Hashtag sorry, Brad. All right, when we come back, we're going to touch on Advantage Get-In and bring up what happened to the legendary Suri. We're also going to talk about Sarah as a Survivor winner, how this season ranks up altogether, and why we missed the reunion show. We will be right back.
Hi, Survivor Now podcast listeners. I am Katie from KT Designs, better known as Katie Tedesco Art on both Instagram and Etsy. I have been designing and selling Survivor products for over 7 years at my Etsy shop, including replicas like hidden immunity idols and Survivor trading cards with all of the players' stats on the back. I am so grateful for Survivor Now for giving me this shout out and helping me reach even more super fans. I love listening to their podcast. So if you are looking for some really unique reality TV products for yourself or to give a super fan in your life, come check out my Etsy shop at www.etsy.com/shop/KatieTedescoArt.com.
Yippee! Look at this right here. Randy deserves to be sent to an ad after that take. What are we talking about? Brad played a pretty good game. Don't forget that. He also had it. Yeah, regarding the Brad thing, I think he definitely had a good social game at the start, but he struggled to maintain it. If it was more consistent, then he has a better chance of winning. We're going to get to why Sarah actually ended up beating Brad here in a minute. But first, let's talk about one of the most historic Survivor moments ever to grace our television. Advantage Get-In. Final 6. So Ty ends up playing his idol for himself.
Yep.
Also plays his other idol, which he could have held on to. Plays that for Aubrey.
Yep.
You have Culpepper, who is immune because he won individual immunity. And then you have Sarah, who plays the legacy advantage, followed by Troyzan playing his idol, meaning Suri. Is has to go home because she's the only one who is not safe. And so many people, excuse me, by the way, so many people have talked about Cirie coming back for 50. And my opinion on that is I think she should, because I think it'd be a nice sending off. She should come play for a 5th time. After that, retire. Try one more time at season 50 to win, do the thing you've never been able to do. And after that, right off to the sunset. But now after watching this episode, I'm not as sure. I feel like this was I don't know. Stuff changes over the years. This happened a while ago. But it seemed like Jeff was pretty content with that being her final time on the show. Like Jeff himself was like, Cirie, if this is your final time, like gave her a whole speech. She got a standing ovation. And with the live reunion show, even pulled her on stage, hugged her. The audience gave her a standing ovation. So now I've been saying that I want to see Cirie on season 50. I don't know anymore. I feel like this was a good sending off. She got her standing ovation. She went out in the most legendary way possible. She was not even voted out. None of the votes in the urn were for her. So, Kara, what side are you on? I know a lot of people have been asking us in the chat throughout all these podcasts questions about 50 already. So we'll touch on that. Would you want to see Cirie back, or watching this? This was your first time seeing Cirie play, right?
Yes. And I don't think, I mean, awesome if she does come back, but I don't think she needs to. I don't think she has anything else to prove. And I think, like, well, whatever. If she comes back, like, that'd be great. But I feel like this was a perfect, like, ending. It was, like, iconic. Everyone talks about it. Everyone remembers it. And the only way to top it would be for her to win. And I feel like that would be very difficult to do. I mean, maybe not with all her, I guess it would depend on who the cast is, but I feel like the odds of her winning might not be that high on, I don't know. I feel like this is a good ending spot. If I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like,
No, it definitely does. Will, add on
the
to
only way
point.
to top it.
I mean, I don't think she needs to come back. She does if Survivor 50 is the last season of Survivor and that was it. They'll bring back all the big names, bring back Cirie, have her get screwed out of the game again. Why not? But I think the thing is that I think if she does come back, I think she just kind of plays this very similar game to Game Changers. Just makes it really far, lays low, gets out, right around the end because she's not going to win challenges. And I think she kind of has like the Sandra effect. But I kind of like the idea of Cirie being this beacon of a player who does everything right, makes all the right moves, but gets screwed out of the game. And because there's a lot of players like that who make the right choices, make the right decisions. And I know Boston Rob, he also spoke about this. He said, like, the one thing you need is luck. And if you don't have it, you can't win.
And this is the most unlucky thing that could ever happen.
Because Cirie not only had the right ideas, but were executing them. She went to Ty, we got to work together. We got to vote the cop out. And Ty agreed. And had Sarah gone out here, the final 5 would have been what? Aubrey, Cirie, Ty against Brad and Troyzan. Troyzan probably goes at 4 there. Or maybe
wait, so
Aubrey.
you're saying Sarah would have went home?
Sarah would have went home.
Brad would have won.
Brad would have won.
And
you sure he beats? I think Cirie could win.
Ty probably would have been voted out. So you're looking at a final 4 of Aubrey, Cirie, Aubrey, Cirie, Brad, and Troyzan. Brad would have won again. Brad would have voted with Troyzan. I assume Aubrey and Cirie would have voted together. So probably would have been looking at Aubrey versus Troyzan and Fire. I would have taken Troyzan to win that fire making. So you're looking at a final 3 of probably Cirie, Troyzan, and Culpepper.
Where Cirie wins.
Yeah.
I think that's how that would have played out if we're playing the hypothetical.
Yeah, I actually still think they'd be fire making. I think Cirie just
What'd you say?
I think Cirie just cuts Aubrey right there. Like,
oh, you think?
In that hypothetical, yeah. I don't see, because there's no point. Because in Cirie's mind, she just has to make final, and she wins. She doesn't need to be true to Aubrey. She just has to make it to the final 3.
We got a couple comments here from Chris. See, the thing with the whole Suri on 50 is since Game Changers, she hasn't played Survivor, but has played 3 reality shows. And she did win one of them. She won the Traders.
Yeah.
I don't think we need it after she got a win. And then I will say I don't think that Suri makes the end. I think they still cut her at 4 or 5. As great as she played this season, something to consider is everyone knew she wasn't winning challenges. Which is why I think they would have taken her to the Final Four, because they knew that's one other person that's not going to beat you at the challenge. In terms of the rest of Advantage Get In, Kara, in the back of my mind was your reaction to when you were going to take Andy during the Survivor 47 draft, and you just hid your face and instantly looked like oh, I'm so sorry. I was trying to envision what your reaction would have been if you were in Suri's shoes. So, how, Will,
okay.
the same question's coming to you as well. If you guys are in Suri's same predicament, because I know what I'm doing. I'm going to pull a Michaela. I'm throwing a fit. I'm going to be pretty mad and pretty frustrated. That's how it ends, because you have no vote, especially when Jeff is like, none of these votes were for you, buddy. Sorry. So, what would the reaction have been from you guys? Because I feel like this is just such a tough way to go out.
Yeah, I feel like I would have been shocked. I definitely would have been upset, but I think give it a little time. I would have been like, you know what? If I'm going out, that's a cool way to go out.
Yeah.
This comment, Randy, you just asked this question.
Yeah.
You're the person who got boomeranged out of Edge of Extinction. That's why I went to her first.
That was literally my process. I was upset. Yeah. But now I'm like, okay, kind of cool that I went out on the boomerang. But yeah.
Oh, Will, you don't know about this, do you?
No, I have no idea what y'all are
Aaron,
talking
do you want to
about.
explain the boomerang vote?
Yeah, so the boomerang was whoever has the majority votes, whoever they vote for goes home. And so the person that we all voted for me, and then I was taken out with them. So.
Dang, that's sad. Reminds me of this one idol in this org where instead of the person with the most votes getting sent out, it was the person with the second most votes, which is a really cool advantage because it's really hard to play against and it causes paranoia every single time it happens. But in that game,
I love the boomerang vote. I think they should do that on Survivor.
I don't think so. I think it's really broken.
No, so unfair.
I think they should do it on Survivor. I actually like this advantage. Kudos to Expedition Online.
Thinking about it now, we could knowing now, I feel like you definitely could game it more and play it differently. But in the moment, it was very.
We've never seen them in the same place. We've never seen Kara and Suri in the same place, so they could be the same person. Is there anything else? Is there anything else to be said about Advantage Get In that you guys that pops into mind about this whole situation?
Yeah, I didn't know that this was the season, so I was very shocked when I was watching it happen.
I was just emotional. And please bring the live reunions back in the live shows. Yes. Because I thought it was so cool to have Suri go out there and have an interview before we get back out to the island. I just thought that was so cool. Please bring that back. All right, let's go ahead and talk about Sarah Lacina, our champion, our sole survivor. Let's go to Kara first. So you were on the side that Sarah Lacina deserved to win this season. After watching her, you knew over time that she was the winner. After watching her entire game play out, how do you feel about her winning this game and how she played?
I think she played great from beginning to end. She deserved that. She was working the entire time. She never was not doing anything. She was always that swing vote. She always had say in what was happening. Decision, she had a good social game. Everyone felt comfortable with her. Everyone felt like her, her friend, and she was able to get the legacy advantage and then still send Sierra home. I think she played great. I think she completely deserved to win Game Changers.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't want to say that she doesn't deserve to win. I still think she's a good winner. I think she doesn't get talked about enough. I'm just my hot take with Brad should have won is the same hot take I have about Ozzy should have beat Yule.
No.
Yes.
What?
Ozzy should have beat Yule.
Dog.
That hot take.
It's a hot take. That's a. All
Hot
right,
take.
we need a debate. Like we need some kind of pot. Oh, he was running away before I can.
He
I-
knows it's a bad take. No, Brad wasn't consistent the entire time. And then in the end, he knows he would have went home if he didn't win the last 4 challenges, where Sarah never needed to win a challenge to be safe. And I think that is more impressive than winning out.
I feel Kara's upset with me.
She voted someone out who had an advantage that would have been willed to another player, and got that advantage to then use to vote out Sari Fields.
I will say, mad respect when Brad brought up, hey, I won 5 individual immunities, and that's how I outplayed. And when she had that line where she was like, I'm sorry, he's literally an athlete. He's an athlete. I can't do that. But I outplayed by stealing someone's advantage and using my mind to overcome what muscles I don't have.
Yeah.
Power.
And you know what? She didn't talk to Sierra. She didn't talk down to Sierra.
No.
Like, you know what?
Nope.
Ty could have, if Brad went about it differently, maybe Ty would have given Brad an idol just on his own will, you know?
Yeah.
I want you to have this.
Let's see, Chris. I think Sarah played a great game, though. I have a theory that the edit protected her a bit just based off stuff I've heard from multiple players about jury management. So yeah, see, it's tough. We don't see everything
You
out
never
there
know
on the
whole
island.
thing.
Kara, I've never seen you get so fired up. I love this passion. She is passionate about Sarah
I'm
winning.
so passionate about it.
She's like, no, Randy.
So random.
Well, I mean, you're on
You're on
Kara's
tape.
side. I'm being
Yeah.
outruled here. It must not be a hot take for me. It must be a trash take because
I mean-
the comments agree. You guys agree.
We're getting the full spectrum here. Randy thinks Brad Culpepper should have won. Kara thinks Sarah should have won. I think Troyzan should have won. So,
So
I think
valid.
we're getting the full scope here.
If Troyzan won, would it have been a win similar to Gabler's?
Not
like-
Gabler. Yeah, I mean, kind of.
Like kind of that shock of like people are frustrated because they just don't understand. You have Sarah who would have been the Cassidy. You have Culpepper who would have been the Owen. Kind of the hot-headed. Yeah. And then you
Kelly
would have had
Brown.
Troyzan who is the Gabler, and people are just like, what, how, what? And then Troyzan's like the Troy Gable or no. The I can't. I was trying to combine Troyzan and alligator. The trolligator. Yeah. the trolligator came up and
It's his island. No, I mean, I think we would have talked about it in like the same way we talk about like Amber Mariano, because like final tribal council, Troyzan's getting declared the winner. Brad Culpepper gets a 1 knee, proposes to Troyzan. Iconic moment. No.
Don't bring up that's an insult. Do not say that Troyzan is like Amber.
I think Amber deserved to win in All Stars. Oh, I'm sorry.
I think Amber's one of the worst winners all time.
She might not be the best winner, but she still deserved it.
What did she do? Off topic. We're gonna have to talk about this from a different.
Yeah,
We need to do a podcast sometime where we just talk about every single winner. I actually really love this idea. Maybe next off season.
It'd be fun.
Yeah, maybe
Let's do it after the premiere.
after the season 47 finale, we'll do a podcast talking about every single Survivor winner. Maybe we'll do like 3 minutes on each winner and try. But the arguments that it would start.
Oh yeah, just pick a list. Get the most controversial.
Randy's always gonna have the wrong opinion. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. It's gonna be like John Cochran was the best winner.
Sarah, where is this coming from? What have I done to you? What have I done?
I'm just joking.
I think of like how peaceful the last episode was when it was just me and Kara. We just agreed the entire time. We never disagreed. We
And
invite
now
Randy
I'm
on
back,
Tuesday.
and it's like, here's this moron here.
Here's the worst Survivor opinions you've ever heard, ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen.
I come back as like the host, and it's like, oh god, here's this moron to give his Survivor takes again. I'm waiting for Kara just to like full out cuss and be like, "What are you, an effing idiot?"
No, I'm just joking. I usually have the worst take, so I'm just glad that it's not me.
Best.
This no, your hatred is supposed to go towards the queen, Sandra. We've
Yeah.
talked about this.
I forgot about
No,
her.
We're on the same side
I just like how you think that Brad Culpepper is a deserving winner. But
Okay,
Amber Mariano.
Who played a better physical game?
Okay, yeah, who played a better social game? Who got more joyful?
Okay, Sarah. I don't understand that because everyone's mad that Brad was like turning on them and stuff like that. Sarah jumped from alliance to alliance.
But she did it in a way that people could respect. That hard time.
I don't need to respect you. I just need you to play the best game.
Yeah, and she did. Again, Survivor at its core, you are going to vote people out, and some of those people have to vote for you to win at the end of the game.
I just felt like this was a bitter jury.
Bitter jury?
No.
If it was truly
Yeah,
a bitter jury, then Troyzen would have won because Troyzen was playing for a bitter jury.
If it was bitter, I think Brad would have won.
You think?
Because everyone would have been mad at Sarah.
Oh, I did. This does remind me before I forget. I did find it funny that Michaela went up, voted for Sarah, and was like, if anyone doesn't vote for you, they're just bitter Betties. I'm like, you're the most bitter person on the jury. You couldn't even look at Brad.
Let her live.
But Michaela asked Brad.
I'm going to turn this hatred towards Michaela. Let's start talking about Michaela.
Let's talk about Michaela.
We like Michaela.
At Final Tribal Council, she's like, Brad, I don't think you know anything about me. Brad was like, you're from Texas, and what do you want to know?
He literally said what her career was. And he said, "What do you want to know? Like, what are you asking me? You want me to name your favorite color?
No.
You want me to name your favorite flower? You want me to name what your
he failed that
dog's
question.
name was? Like, okay, Will, what can you say about me?
So I don't know you enough, Randy, and I would not get your vote. But if
we've been working together for 4 years now,
exactly, we don't talk. And so if I was, my thing is like, if I was on the jury. Right, and I go to Brad, I'm like, Brad, I don't think you know much about me. And Brad's like, well, you're from Maryland. You're a server. What else? Like, I feel like there needed to be something a lot more. I feel like if Sari was asked this question, Sari would go from a much more personal space. And I think that's kind of what I think that was the correct answer to Michaela's question. It wasn't like, who am I? It's who am I?
Yeah. Which is,
to pick a different one.
Something you don't really think about is that part of the game. You know, we get like an hour, now an hour and a half edited version of the game, but all the time you spend out there, you know, sometimes it feels like, oh, we want to get out there, we want to play Survivor, and you want to go in and start making alliances and stuff right away and start winning challenges. Right, there's more to the game than that. There's all that time that we don't see. You spend 24 hours a day with these people. So I totally get when someone's like, who am I? It's like they spent how many days together? They spent 28, 29 days together. You have nothing to do out on the island. You don't have TV to watch. You don't have a sport to go play. So all you have is time to talk to these people and get to know them. So I totally understand when she's like, who am I? And when you can't say exactly who it is, it's like, what did we do for 29 days? We didn't even talk. I will say that if I was in that incident, my memory is awful. So like if Kara at Final Tribal Council was like, Randy, do you even know me? I'm like, yeah, but I don't remember anything you've told me.
But I feel like, I feel like it's insulting that you spend that much time together and this person, like, they just didn't take the time. They didn't care to get to know you further than where you live and what your job is. But also, if they say, Randy, like, you're out there and, like, you have a bad memory, whatever, we would know that because we would have talked to you. And it would have been, like, understandable. It'd be like, okay, Randy maybe can't name what my favorite color is or what my favorite movie is, but I know that we had this conversation. He was listening to me. He just has a bad memory.
Your favorite color is yellow.
Randy, what is my favorite color? No. What do you think my favorite color is?
I was banking on the nails. I saw the yellow nails. I was banging on the nail. Will, your favorite color is blue, if I'm not mistaken. Is it not?
In green. No.
Randy, I'm wearing a green shirt and green hat, brother.
Okay, Kara, is your favorite color blue?
No.
Kara got the assignment, bro. That was bad.
Okay. Kara, you make a wonderful point. I didn't want to just sidetrack what you said. The color, it's a good point. It's a good point. Now this is the most unhinged episode of the podcast ever. Will, what's my favorite color?
You seem like a blue kind of guy.
Blue is one of my least favorite colors.
It's giving red.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
Red. I am purple. Purple.
I was gonna say either red or white. You seem like a white, like
white. I would have
Because he's wearing white.
White is my third favorite
white walls
color. Yes, white's my third.
You rank your favorite colors?
I do. Purple, green, and then white, and then everything else. And then
that's the new podcast for off season. Favorite color tier list.
This whole podcast feels like an episode of Why Randy Lost Survivor, and the subject is Randy.
Yeah.
This has been honestly my favorite podcast of the entire season. Frankly,
it's so good.
The last thing I want to say before we begin our wrap-up stuff is congratulations to Sarah. It was fun watching her be the villain this season, and she did play with everything that's been said, and whoever deserves to win, or who doesn't deserve to win. Sarah does deserve it. She played an excellent game. And she pulled off some masterful moves in a season that had some incredible players. And you have to look at it like that, where these weren't just first-time players. These were experienced Survivor players that she was able to navigate her way past, steal an advantage from one of them. It was an impressive performance. Is there anything from the reunion show that you guys want to shout out? I did find it interesting. Obviously, they touched on the Varner situation with Zeke. Zeke once again handled himself with class. I like that the audience seems pretty forgiving of Varner. He did get an applause when he was like, "This is what's been going on. I'm sorry. You know, you live and learn." No matter how you guys feel about Varner, the man did come out and apologize. Not saying, that some people that they're going to be like, that's not enough, but you got to give it to the guy that he did come out and apologize on national television again, saying, "I'm sorry, Zeke. I'm happy he was able to find another job after being let go." And he talked about how life was hard. And there's something that he said that I was like, "Ooh, you better pick," because he said, both our lives have been hard after this, and I'm like, don't try to compare yourself to what you put Zeke through. But he did loop back around, and he's like, the main focus is Zeke. This is about Zeke. So I actually really liked what Varner had to say, and how that kind of wrapped up. Will, I'll go to you first. Anything from the reunion show that you remember?
No, but it makes me miss the live reunion, because I think if this was like New Era, I hate to be that guy, like, oh, New Era. If this was New Era, though, it would be very uncomfortable, because every single player, they had time to truly process their feelings, right? Varner and Zeke, they had time to go into the real world. The episode happened like a month before the reunion. The backlash happened, and it gave everyone time to just process, to heal. Because if the reunion happened like a week after, or like right after the vote read, like, there would be none of that, right? Because the pre-jurors aren't there. But and plus also, like, with how like Sarah's game was perceived, the Brad Culpepper and Ty stuff, like, everyone had time to reconcile, to apologize, and it just made me miss it.
Same. I miss it so much. Like, please, Jeff has even mentioned, maybe we'll bring it back one day, but we'll do the after show as well. I'm like, if that's what it takes, fine.
Yeah. No.
Do the after show.
Yeah.
And then do the finale a week later.
Yeah. Like, imagine, like, in 45, like, having Austin react, like, months or however long later to the blindside thing, whatever happened with that one, where whatever, you know what I'm talking about. Like, I feel like that would have been so interesting to hear from him and from her post all of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
give Charlie
really
and Maria time to...
That too, yeah. They're
because it's
missing out
yeah,
by not having this.
and I mean,
They're
I
lost.
don't understand why the argument that CBS has is like it saves us money not to do it. You're gonna make money doing it. You could
Yeah,
have
just
it the
do it in the
following week.
studio.
Yeah, do it in
Yeah.
the studio. I don't even think people, I mean, you could have a small audience, like I think people would be fine with that. We just want to see the castaways outside of the game. It's always nice to see them cleaned up too. And like, oh, this is what they
Yeah.
actually look like off an island. And I think if you want to still do the after show, you can do the after show and then just do the finale after that. Or if it's like, because the after show is an hour as well, do the finale the following week. I promise you people are going to tune in, or do it that Friday.
Yeah.
I promise you, like back when they did it, like sometime like back in the day, Jeff Probst didn't even host. It was Rosie O'Donnell. There's another guy who would host, and then they would be like
Joe Schmo.
Yeah, the winner will get their $1 million check tomorrow morning on the Today Show. I just feel like there's a lot of stuff that Survivor could do that would really be awesome, that would make them money, the money that they say they would be losing putting it on. I think the finale is something that just makes Survivor feel more grand, and everybody wants it back. Like, please, Jeff, bring it back. Let's see. A few more comments here. Yeah, new era reunion would have been awesome. I hope they bring it back. I agree. Who had the better mustache? Culpepper or Will?
Culpepper. This is an experiment.
I'm gonna go Culpepper. Culpepper had a good staff.
We both agree.
I would have loved to see Abe at a reunion show. Let me tell you something. I was robbed.
Let me tell you. On the island, you get no days off.
Big Show Gunna, you're gonna have to go back and watch this podcast. But yes, Brad should have.
No.
It should have been Troy.
I think that the other two do not feel the same way. Well, we wrap up one season of Survivor. Oh, that just jumped ahead. We wrap up one season of Survivor, and just in time for another season, as Survivor 47 is right around the corner. I think I should. I mean, Game Changers was amazing. Actually, pardon me. This is on the fly. Oh, I cut Kara. Sorry, I can't get back to that. I'm messing up. I'm messing up all over. Scratch that. Before we get to that, and before we transition to season 47, what did we think of the season overall? Because for me, this continues to be a season that there was a lot of big moments in this season, a lot of legendary moments. But this is not going to be one of my favorite seasons looking back on it. And like, I picked this season remembering it of like, oh, I want to rewatch Game Changers. Like, I think that was a good season. And I had people reach out and say, why are you doing that season? And now I understand why. I think the editing was very poor this season, kind of all together. And besides the big moments, it was kind of lackluster. Like, if I was to rank all the seasons, this is probably going slightly below average. Kara, what did you think watching it all the way through for the first time?
Yeah, not my favorite. It wouldn't be like up in my top. It would be lower on the list of seasons I've seen, but it did have like good moments. I'm glad I watched it and got to see like moments I've heard about and see them play out. So that was fun, but yeah, the editing was pretty bad, so not my favorite.
Yeah, pretty lackluster. There's some, obviously, with the Culpepper and Ty kind of bullying, and then you had the awkward situation between Varner and Zeke. There was a lot of tough moments this season. Will, how'd you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, it was very disappointing. I try to pull back with my main opinion, but I just think the boot order is very disheartening. Debbie making it over big names, Haley making it over big names, Sierra making it, like, no offense to those players, but like, I feel like I'd rather watch Malcolm or Tony Vlachos over those.
Even Sandra, yeah.
Even especially Sandra. I just think it's one of the worst returnee seasons, maybe the worst all returnee season, either that or All-Stars. It's just hard. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Will. I just had a question from the audience after you're done.
I got you. I mean, I think if you go into the season expecting it all to be bad, you will find flowers. Because that's how I was going back to the season. I was really dreading it, and I found some good moments. That said, it's like those good moments won't stick out in the next month.
Good. I really like that flowers.
Yeah.
The way you phrased that was good, Will. And since you're our analytical guy with Survivor Stock Watch coming up for Survivor 47 as well. Well, I will answer this first. Yes, it was Kara's first time watching it. So very first time seeing it. Well, I think you're the best person to answer this. Why is the editing bad? We keep saying that the editing was not the best.
So for me, I think part of the reason why the editing was so bad, it's two things. One, the episodes from week to week sometimes felt disjointed and didn't make a lot of sense. I think the Ozzy vote realistically made no sense. The Andrea vote, Andrea, my apologies, I keep mispronouncing it. Like, it just happened. She just got railroaded. And Kara, I know we talked about that too when we discussed that episode. It's like, she had no time. She just appeared and then disappeared. That was it. I think an overarching problem too is just how a lot of characters are just silent and invisible. So Reed wasn't really there for the first half of the season. Sarah Lucina wasn't there for the first half of the season. Aubrey was a huge name going into the season. Like, Aubrey and Ko Wrong is one of the biggest players, biggest robberies, and something everyone really talked about. And this season, she was invisible. And it just kind of felt like a lot of the big players, like Ozzy as well. This is Ozzy's first time back, and he got nothing. It felt very disjointed. And I just think if it had another 20 minutes and explained the relationships, I also think just having a social win like Sarah Lucina didn't help any favors. It just felt like a weird season where I couldn't tell the direction the season was going. Because sometimes seasons are like, oh, why a player won, why someone lost, underdog, decoy winners. This season didn't really have a big, like, archetype, It just had, it felt very muddled, are the words I'd use to describe it.
Yeah, you described it way better than I would have. So that's why I sent it to you. I'm like, Will, you got this. You got this. And we'll officially close the chapter on Survivor Game Changers with this comment. Great work on your coverage this season. It was a lot of fun hearing from the three of you consistently during the off season. You're all amazing humans. Oh my gosh, that is so sweet. I'm going to leave that up there for a second as we transition over to Survivor 47, which is right around the corner. We have so much coverage coming up for you guys this next week. The layout set, we have a new intro. Our logo is set, obviously. So very excited to get ready to cover our biggest season. Yeah, it's going to be our biggest season of coverage. That's what that's the line that I'm butchering here. Let's look at what we got. Starting tomorrow, Sparker Stuff is back. Matthew and Ollie host with special guests. Shannon Gus, my bad. Oh my gosh, I'm just butchering everything. Shannon Gus is here. She is an international icon. She is a Survivor podcasting legend. We are so honored to have her on for Sparker Snuff, which is a fun podcast where they take a look at the outfits, the marooning outfits of every castaway, and it's pretty straightforward. Is it a spark or is it a snuff? It's a fun show. It's kind of like our cast assessment and draft that we did last week. Just a fun night of podcasting. So make sure to tune into that. That is tomorrow night, Thursday, September 12th at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And then next week, our actual coverage begins starting with our pre-show. This is on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. I will be joined by Abraham, and we will take maybe some special guests from the live Bryson Wynn Present in New York City. I know Kara's going to be there. She's going to be at Bryson Wynn Present. So excited to. Yeah, I'm so jealous. Have fun at that. That's going to be so fun. And then immediately after, it's the debut of our two new podcasters for the current season. They have been on the cast assessment and draft. But Josh and Bruce, yes, two-time castaway Bruce, is joining us this season. That is the Survivor 47 after show. We go live immediately after the episode airs. Well, it's like 10 minutes after the episode airs because we have to set everything up. So we will be going live about 10 p.m. Eastern time to talk about everything that happened on the 2-hour season premiere. And then Kara knows where we're going next. On Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern time, you can join Kara and Tegwith for Survivor Social. Kara, do you want to give a little synopsis of what people can expect from Survivor Social?
Yeah, so we talk about the social game of the castaways. We mostly talk about just like the social aspect of the episode, who played the best social game, and yeah, we just kind of recap it and talk through everything. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm very excited. You guys have some incredible guests lined up this season too, so can't wait to. I mean, Social's just such an incredibly entertaining show, so definitely tune into that Thursdays, 9 p.m. correct Eastern time, same time as last year. So you guys can tune in for that. And next, Will, it's your turn, buddy. Yeah,
All right.
You guys, is this a new time? Are we doing noon?
Yes, we're doing noon.
Okay, so noon on Fridays, noon
Yep.
Eastern. That's 9 a.m. Pacific time. So wake up and start your mornings. It's now like our morning show. Will, what can people expect from you and Jack on Stockwatch?
So Stockwatch is the Friday noon podcast. Basically, we talk a little bit about the individual castaways each episode, but we look into the edit, we look into narratives. Two words I kind of use a lot throughout this season, but basically we try to see like why players are being shown in different lights, what this means. If you are new to Survivor Edgix, or if you've seen Survivor Edgix but you don't know what it's about and you have questions, you can always ask me and Jack. That's kind of the direction we take it, but it's also very lighthearted. There's always a lot of banter between me and Jack. We take it seriously, but not seriously enough. And it's kind of competitive, kind of not, but we have fun with it.
It is like these two go ham at each other. It's basically what Kara and I were doing tonight, just attacking one another.
Yeah,
but I wasn't attacking Kara. It was Kara attacking
Just me attacking you.
That's how that was going.
Sorry, Randy.
You'll fit right in.
It's also like I always say, it's like a power ranking show too, because these guys, Will and Jack, put so much time in putting together their like the graphs that they use and everything. So definitely check it out. It's a really good show, and it gives you a different perspective because they really dive into, much like Kara and Tegwith dive into the social element and really talk to you about the alliances being formed and the social decisions made in the game, and why like someone like Sarah Lucina is such an incredible winner. Will and Jack really dive into the analytical side, like who could be winning the season based on the edit and stuff like that. And it definitely opens your mind to a different way to watch the show. And then after Stockwatch, it's our last show of the week. Got something for you with Phil, Ollie, and Matthew. And yeah, your eyes are not deceiving you. We have an incredible guest joining us to wrap up our season 47 premiere coverage, and that is Survivor 44 winner Jam Jam. So he's back. He's going to give all of his insight on what he thought about the premiere episode. I mean, look at that. Look at that picture. How can you not love this guy? So we are so excited to have Jam Jam back with us to cover the season 47 premiere. So guys, it's right around the corner. It's literally next week. This time, this exact time next week, I will be starting the after show and we'll be kicking off this new season. So with that, from the bottom of my heart, from Will and Kara's heart, thank you guys for tuning in to this off-season coverage covering Survivor Game Changers. And now we're going to get what's our off season looking like? The three of us, we're going to get like 5 days of off season. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we will catch you guys next time.